AITA for telling off a lady in a supermarket after she made the teenage cashier cry. I'm a 35-year-old woman, and yesterday was just an average day for me. You know, the usual. I was doing my weekly grocery shopping at the local supermarket. It's a big chain, pretty busy in the afternoons, and I usually like to get in and out quickly. But, of course, nothing ever goes as smoothly as you plan, right? So there I was, cart full of groceries, standing in line at checkout. It was longer than usual, and people were starting to get antsy. But honestly, I didn't mind. I wasn't in any big rush, and I could tell the young cashier, a girl who couldn't have been older than 17, was new. She looked nervous, probably dealing with the stress of a busy day. I stood behind a woman in her mid-50s, who from the beginning looked like she wasn't in the mood to be patient. You know the type, right? Arms crossed, foot tapping, heavy sighing, the whole deal. At first, I thought maybe she was just having a bad day. We've all been there. But as the cashier started scanning her items, making a couple of small mistakes here and there, I noticed the woman's attitude getting worse by the second. She started muttering under her breath, though loud enough that you could hear her. Things like, "This is ridiculous," and "How long does it take to scan a few items?" It was clear she was about to snap. Then it happened. The cashier accidentally scanned one of her items twice. I saw the girl's face go pale as she realized the mistake. She tried to fix it on her own, but after fumbling with the buttons for a bit, she had to call over a supervisor to void the extra charge. That's when the woman in front of me just lost it. She started berating the cashier, her voice rising in pitch with every word. "How hard is it to do this job?" she sneered. "You're wasting everyone's time. Don't they train you? This is basic stuff. How can you mess this up?" The poor cashier looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. Her hands were shaking as she tried to explain, and her voice cracked when she apologized. I saw her eyes well up with tears, and my heart broke for her. I could tell she was on the verge of crying, and it felt like the woman in front of me was actually enjoying it. For a second, I hesitated. I'm not usually the type to intervene in other people's business. I hate confrontation, but watching this lady go off on a teenage girl who was clearly doing her best, it hit something inside me. I've worked retail before. I've been in that girl's shoes, and I remember how awful it felt when customers would take their bad days out on me. I took a deep breath, hoping the woman would cool down, but she just kept going, her words becoming sharper, more hurtful. That's when I couldn't stay silent anymore. Without really thinking, I stepped forward and said, "Hey, you don't have the right to treat someone like that. She's doing her best, and it's just a small mistake. You're acting like she ruined your entire day over something as minor as an extra scanned item." She turned to me, looking absolutely shocked that someone had dared to call her out. She gave me this icy glare and snapped, "Mind your own business." That's when the frustration that had been bubbling inside of me just spilled over. I replied, "It is my business when you're making a young girl cry over groceries. She's doing the best she can, and you're acting like it's the end of the world. If you're so unhappy with the way she's doing her job, maybe you should try for a day and see how easy it is." For a moment, I could see the woman's face twitch with anger. I thought she was going to scream at me too. Instead, she just muttered something under her breath, grabbed her bags, and stormed out. The tension in the air was thick. I felt all the eyes of the people in line behind me watching the whole thing unfold. The cashier's supervisor had shown up by then, trying to defuse the situation, but the damage had already been done. The poor girl was shaking, and tears were streaming down her face by the time the woman left. I turned back to the cashier, feeling a bit awkward now that the heat of the moment had passed. I hadn't meant to cause a scene, but I just couldn't stand there and do nothing. The cashier looked at me with red, teary eyes and whispered, "Thank you." That's when it hit me just how upset she really was. She tried to smile, but it was clear she was still rattled by the whole thing. I wanted to say something comforting, but I could feel the eyes of the people behind me, and suddenly I wasn't sure if I had done the right thing. I mean, it's one thing to call out someone who's being rude, but what if I made the situation worse? What if I embarrassed the cashier even more by drawing attention to the whole ordeal? After paying for my groceries and heading out to my car, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Part of me felt proud for standing up for someone who was being treated unfairly, but another part of me kept second-guessing everything. As I left the store, I noticed a couple of people who had been behind me in line giving me side-eye, like I was the one who had overreacted. I started wondering if maybe I'd made things worse. I mean, was it really my place to step in? Could I have handled it better? Did I come off as too aggressive? I guess the real question is, AITA for telling off a rude customer who made a teenage cashier cry? Should I have just kept my mouth shut and let the supervisor handle it? Or did I do the right thing by standing up for the cashier?